Hello there. Alright. Dumb intro for a dumb stream, that's what you get. So, yeah, I actually wasn't planning on streaming quite this early into the week, but, again, got my rig earlier than I expected, so, fuck it. Might as well, take it for a bit of a test run, you know? Yes, hello, Harriet. Always a pleasure to see you. So, yes, as the, title of the stream implies, slash, as every message I've posted everywhere on the internet has, implied, or not even implied, just flat out said, today is thrash metal day. I am in the mood to write a thrasher. In the mood to fucking start mosh pits, fucking yell about what pisses me off in the world, the usual shit. And, it's not glue. Previously it was glue. Now, it's just naturally growing out. Gotta love it. And, thank you, Ozaka. Thank you for the compliment. Pleasure to see you as well. So, yeah. So, fun little, tidbit. I actually did some last-minute shopping just before the stream. There was a sale going on. One of my usual companies was, apparently it's a Mexican holiday this week, and, they decided to do a sale based on that. So, I took the opportunity. Subscription is up. Resubscribe. Thank you very much. Appreciate that a lot. I'm not going to dignify your message, but I still thank you for the extra money. Anyways, I bought a new amp sim, is the bottom line, plus some new cabinet impulses, which I plan on using most likely later into the stream. The amp sim I'll use immediately just because, you know, presets I can just use a placeholder tone while I write out the song, but you're most likely not going to see the, fucking cabinet simulation until much later. So, speaking of, without further ado, let's just, after I full screen this, go ahead and switch to the DAW screen. There we go. So yes, this is a lot of tracks. Decided to set things up immediately, actually prepare myself somewhat. T-Bird, welcome to the stream. Good, probably morning for you, I don't know. I don't know what your sleep schedule's like. I do know I don't envy the position you're in, but either way. Yep, morning, that's what I figured. Anyways, so you may have seen, speaking of preparation, I actually already have a little pseudo riff right here. It's pretty much just a rhythm. And I decided that today, to give you the full classic thrash experience, I will be writing this part as if it was in standard tuning, as in low E is as low as we go. So let's hear what this little part sounds like that I got right here. It's not much, it could use significantly more polish, but I'd say I'm off to a good enough start, right? That song that goes, ha ha ha. Gee, which of the 5,000 songs that go like that could you be referring to? Zop? No. No gent. We're doing thrash. Different genre entirely. We'll save the gent for another time. Although, funny thing, we're using my new usual guitar plugin real late, so it is sort of a waste that I'm not using gent, because look at this. It's an 8-string guitar that goes all the way down to a low E, but no. We're doing things the old school way. We are sticking with standard. Which means no bends, no chord, no fucking weird chugga-chuggas. No. We're doing the usual chugga-chugga on a low E string. Eventually I'm going to get that right. This is as low as we go. And here we go, another resub. Chloroform Doc, thank you for the resub. Appreciate that. Alright. So, there's our fertile little ground, so I figure I might as well just go ahead and, well, I'm not off to a good start if I'm unintentionally ripping off the Black Eyed Peas. But maybe once I added this riff, maybe I can obfuscate that a little bit. So, I would say the obvious start would be take these two notes. So, key snap, we want to go to E. No, I don't think this is going to work. So, for the song back on Sunday, the angsty little ambient song I made, I was using, see, Reaper has multiple sort of files that allow you, there are many generous people out there who have given you many scales and chords to snap to. But I don't think this one in particular is what I'm looking for. I need a different one. So, but of course I don't want you to look into my files, so I'm going to have to change to this screen real quick. So, yeah. Again, needless to say, you may be noticing a trend with my music recently. It's rather angsty. And I don't think I need to go into too much detail as to why that is. Just the fact of the matter is, yeah, exactly like you, just in a different way. Anyways, I've already loaded up the other thing, so let's just back to the DAW screen. But, yeah. You know, seasons changing, weather's getting colder, fucking life events have been shit lately, so I'm not in the best of moods, and this is easily the best way to, try to, purge those demons, as it were. Alright, chords, power chords. So, I think for this first rip, power chords, there we go. Flat 5. This is the tritone. Nice. Right idea, wrong notes. Perfect, exactly what I want. So we take this rep of it, and I think I'd rather just have these. The other nasty interval. Another rep of this. And I actually have an idea already for where to go from there. 1, 2. And there we go. That sounds like the first riff fully written. Although obviously there's still some more we can do. First order of business, let's make these power chords. D, 1, 2. Whoops. My music theory reps. Okay. Chords, power chords. And I just realized you can't see that. That's hidden behind my model. So again, those are supposed to be power chords. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. So, G5. So I want to drag that up to a D. That's right. And now that we have that right, the rest of these should be right too. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, next order of business. Excellent. I didn't want those to be just palm mutes. That's another way I could alter the riff. I felt like these were better as sustains. Whatever works to get my message across. / what sounds cool. That's really all music is in a nutshell, just making things sound cool. Usually, and it also helps if you decide to stick in the style of genres conventions. It's you may think it's limiting, but it's also rather it helps have limits, as it were. Alright. So, last thing. These need to be power chords too. Okay, snap. F power chord. That's what we're after. So now... we're off to a good start here. Already sounding pretty brutal. So I think before we move on to the next section of the song, I should probably you know what? I'll just loop it a couple of times. Why not? So I think what I'll have to do here, at least for this early version of the song, I might work on it a little later off stream, but you know, I just like to show you guys what's going on right from the groundwork. So I think I know I want this part. I want one guitar playing by itself, probably just band. But that'll require volume mixing, and fuck that for the moment. So then I think this rep, I think I'll have the whole band kick in. Next order of business, I want just a nice long A power chord. Nobody item, there we go. And this time we can just insert the chord right away. And we'll just, drum fill here. And we'll just... I've got a plan for this one. I think I'm gonna do something interesting here. First, take these back. Shorten the notes. Not quite what I wanted to do, but I can at least... So that's basically what we had at the beginning, but I have a plan for this, like I said. Retrograde. We're going to play this riff basically in reverse. Sounds a little weirder than I wanted, but I think that's fine as long as we make sure that drums are doing something basic. So, what's happening here is something called Syncopation. So, you see the grid here, it goes 11, 11.2, 11.3, 11.4. Usually you would want notes to land on one of these beats. But, especially measure 3, there's just nothing there. There are 2 notes in the 16th notes surrounding it, but not directly on 11.3. That's syncopation. It's fairly common in thrash metal. There are plenty of riffs that do that, but if you want a genre where they do that all the time, or that's the absolute law of the land, you need to syncopate all the time, then you would be looking at funk. That's the genre that syncopation is the order of the day. Because again, that's all funk is, just syncopation. Avoiding any and all downbeats, just trying to dance around them. At least, as far as the vocals, guitars, like most of the harmonic instruments go. The bass and drums have to, every other instrument can go as crazy as they want, syncopating, avoiding downbeats, and all that. But that means the bass and the drums have to lock in, really. They have to be a little more specific to the pulse of the song. To paraphrase a classic quote from James Brown, you need a strong 1 in funk, otherwise it's just a bunch of bouncing around. So yeah, that was a bit of a tangent, but... So, this is basically the verse riff we're doing here. 3 reps of this. And again, I want to do something slightly different, so... Perfect. Similar enough that it's still clearly related to the same riff, but different enough that you probably won't think it's the same part on first listen. Excellent. So we'll repeat that twice. And I'm thinking of going a little more basic. So yeah, thrash metal, that means we have to rip off Metallica at some point. So we're going to glue these items together. Scroll this out so I can see what I'm doing somewhat. Leave these notes alone, but these notes, we're going to transpose everything up a step, up 2 notes. Again, it's a simple little, I've used this in plenty of songs before. It's a very basic modulation. They call it fancy word for key change. But it's very common in metal, simply because its effect is just that effective. it'll just make returning to E all that much, all that more, essentially crashing to Earth effect. So bring this over here. However, we don't want this to sustain. Perfect. Come to think of it, this would probably be a smart time to label my parts, just so I don't get completely lost. Intro. Yeah, there's really more intro 1. So we'll label this intro 2. Call this our verse, because that's what it is. And I believe, yep, that means this is our pre-chorus. Pre-chorsu, that's wrong. I have a hard enough time keeping my place on a song without that shit happening. And this is our chorus. Which means I should probably come up with a new riff. I think I'm going to base it off of this part here. That dun-dun-dun. So the idea I have here is I want to go dun 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 dun. Okay, so I want this. So we'll copy both variants of it over here. Let's see, I gotta make sure that that's not gonna loop when I... Okay, loop item source is off. That's a good thing, that's what I want. Alright, I might have to go a little more, Okay, this looks like I'm putting in a little of extra work, but it'll save me work in the long run. Because what I want to do is I want to take this riff. No, I think I fucked myself here. I promise this is going to make sense in a moment. Oh. Okay, that's a setting I'm probably going to have to change to the defaults at some point. Turn off K-Snap. You know, I probably could have just explained this easily aloud by saying I wanted to go da 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 da. So obviously that sounds wrong at the moment, but once I activate the palm mutes... There we go. Just had to find the right key switch. So let's see if I got it right. Clearly I didn't. Okay, I appear to have fucked up somewhere, but I'm not sure where. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, pardon me, I'm getting a little tilted here. This program has never done this to me before. See, that's another thing that fucks with me. The key switch is here. Like, if you've been to my older streams where I use Metal GTX, the free guitar plugin, usually its key switches you would have to use one note behind the note you're trying to alter, whereas the way this is supposed to work, the way it's usually worked for me, is that it is... You've had to be dead on. But for some reason, it's not doing that. Okay, maybe if I have this playing while I play it, maybe that'll solve the mystery. Okay, it's very clearly, it was very clearly holding the right key switch, but it just wasn't activating for some reason. Let's try it this way and see if that fixes anything. Gee, I love dealing with jank, but I just want to write a fucking piece. Okay, I don't know why I had to do it that way to actually make it work, but... I suppose if it worked in the end, I can't complain too much. Okay, so there's one alteration I want to make to this riff. It's not sounding too interesting just writing this note, so I think I'll bring this back on the half step. Not quite what I intended to do, but it sounds more interesting than what I had in my head. And we'll just copy this part of the riff over once. One little change I want to make. It sounded kind of strange just playing this twice over, so I think maybe, except it did the stupid fucking thing again where the key switch didn't play off. So I gotta fix that real quick. That's a pain in the ass. Not the end of the world, though. Live that twice. Bring that over. But I want to make one little change. Delete all that shit. So that's a preliminary of our guitar part. Alright, I don't think that's bad for the sort of a preliminary songwriting. That said, there's a lot of extending I want to do. Because again, I may have implied this already, but my main, I mean, so do I, but I am not partner / I'm too lazy to set up better Twitch, so not all that much I can do about that at the moment. But yeah, extensions. I need to play these parts. I need to repeat these parts a bunch, because again, my main influence is And Justice for All on this track. And as we all know, that was when they were trying to be more serious artists. Back when they thought that all there was to making more progressive-ish music was to just play really fucking long songs. So, I think I might somewhat channel that, because again, just repeating shit a bunch. Which was a lot of their, way of making songs seem longer than they were. Although again, this is a pretty high-tempo song, so it's not gonna seem as repetitive as it is, hopefully. But I suppose we'll see when we're further along in the process. This is supposed to be intro 2. There we go. So this part is all the verse. That's all well and good. Bring it over here. Call this the pre-chorus. Drag all this over here. Chorus. And that's all we got for the moment. Simple enough. Nice and easy. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and skip straight to the bass, because I don't really feel like going too crazy with it on this track. I feel like I've said that before in a relatively recent stream, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but again, it's thrash. Like, unless your bass player was Cliff Burton, they didn't really put all that much or no, again, imitating Justice. Imitating the rhythm guitar is exactly what we want. Silly me. So first, we're gonna take this. Whoops, forgot to hit Control. I wanted to copy that, not get rid of it entirely. Control X that. Crank and Hybrid. that's the bass we'll be using for today. The bass plugin we'll be using for today. Glue all this together. Get rid of the key switch because we don't need it. I think that's the range we want for regular bass, so we'll just go ahead and keep that. Brother Jack, welcome to the stream. You're just in time to, It is hanging pretty well. I've, made pretty decent progress. I've already got the guitar part written out, more or less. So, thankfully, writing the bass parts based on this is going to be rather easy. Yeah, come to think of it, I'm not really feeling this preset. At least not for the moment. Yeah, we'll use the Gnarly 666 preset. And we'll mute these for the moment because that's for later on when I'm actually in the mixing stage. For just writing, I just want a specific tone. Which means I gotta send this back to the master bus. Whoops. Yes, thank you, Brother Jack. Mama did good work on this, I would say. Perfect. Except I almost forgot this. That would have been silly. Although, funny thing, the opening is supposed to be guitar only, which means I've already made a silly here. Alright, so... yeah, it is kind of getting lost compared to the guitar, but again, we're writing, not mixing. That doesn't matter quite yet. Alright. And so again, we're gonna take all this, copy it over to a different track, glue it together, cut it out, paste it back over here. Oh, that's right, that's all single notes. I don't have to worry about it. It's these notes that's gonna go. Which, funny enough, isn't a key switch on this particular patch. This is a... okay, so I gotta figure out... again, we need to simplify this somewhat. Okay, so I'm thinking... bum, 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 bum. So I think that would be... join all these... Let's solo it just so I can hear it in itself. Perfect. Simple enough to be a little more foundation-y and simple enough to still be foundation-y and but different enough to still have some interest to it. All right. Well, I would be willing to help, but again, I'm still kind of working on my commissions, so if you're willing to wait, I'd be more than happy to help. But again, all right. Now let's hear how it sounds in context. Nice. And fortunately, because the pre-chorus is literally just the chorus played 2 steps up, all I really need to do is this. Take this part, control everything, bring it up a whole step. Okay, so Megadeth wasn't a specific influence, but again, they are one of the classic thrash metal bands, so of course this is going to sound rather close to them. Not that that's a bad thing. Again, you can pick worse bands to crib from, of course. Okay, so this one, I think I have a little more simple idea in mind. I just want to go straight 8th notes. Like that. I'm glad you think so, Woozle. Also, welcome to the stream. Pleasure to see you. So, take this. Usual drill. So we'll take this, and then these 2 measures. Well, I'm pleased that you, I'm grateful that you decided to spend your lunch with me. I will serenade you with sick thrash riffs. Or at least attempt to. Alright, glue these. Get rid of these. Get rid of these. Okay, so I think I'll snap to 8ths just temporarily. Well, I'm an idiot. I forgot that I wasn't working on the actual bass part yet. Hey, you know what? Let's be extra smart about this. Let's cut these parts that I've been working on and put them on the actual friggin' bass channel. That would actually probably help quite a bit in terms of hearing what I'm hearing. Get rid of these. And again, we're snapping to eighths. Join all these. Split those, join these. There are probably quicker ways I could have done this, but what's the rush, really? The song's gonna be fast enough. I don't need to match the songwriting time constraints with the actual pace of the song. Perfect. Get rid of that. Split that and join these, just like I was doing before. And then get rid of these. And that should be... Now let's hear how it locks in with the guitar. And of course I gotta loop it again. Because again, we're trying to make the song seem longer than it actually is. Repetition is one of the souls of music in general, but it's an especially important component of thrash, especially thrash with delusions of progressiveness. Perfect. So that's a bass line sorted, and here's the ultimate testament to the fact that I'm actually doing this pretty out of order. We're doing the drums last. This is not something I do all the time. As a matter of fact, this is the complete opposite of my usual workflow. So, I was thinking of doing this, completely custom, but I'm not feeling it at the moment. So I'm thinking either a tom groove or a 16th hi-hat sort of groove. I think I'll have to try both and see what's happening. So let's break out Easy Drummer. Again, this is not something that's going to be heard on the final track. This is just I just find it a lot easier to work with as far as songwriting goes. Alright, so measure 4 is the measure we're interested in. So we're going to go to, let's see, let's try metal beats. And we are at 185 beats per minute. 172, close enough. Let's listen to these tom grooves. Yeah, a little more active than I want. That's more like it. Let's hear how it sounds in context. That's not right. That's right, measure 5. I'm rather silly. And that depends. If we're talking actually playing drums, depends on how drunk I am. Because if I'm practicing, then I can keep it fairly long as long as we're playing basic beats. Like, most of the drum parts I write, there's no way in hell I can play on real drums. I'm just too much of a beginner for that. Sort of like how any beginner guitarist can probably play Smoke on the Water without much problem, but also if you ask them to play Master of Puppets, then they're going to get lost easily. Same story here, but in general, like, if I'm just, like, rapping on my desk for fun, then I can probably keep them pretty long. But if he has that problem, see, if you're having trouble keeping rhythm, then the first thing you want to do is get a metronome app. Just look for a metronome app on your phone. If you're using an iPhone, Silver Dial is what you want. If you're on Android, my preferred one is the Soundbrenner one. Soundbrenner. Yes, exactly. 110% play with a metronome. It's generally the far and away the easiest way to actually get good at music, staying in rhythm, all that shit. So, the next thing we are off to do is, let's see here. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so first order of business, I don't want that opening hit. No. Yes, exactly. That is exactly how it works, Woozle. Perfect. Perfect explanation. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, let's make the opening hit a tom. Why not? That is correct. Stage performers do play with a metronome, although obviously the audience doesn't hear it. So the way most modern bands work is that they use something called in-ear monitors. Essentially, think of them as really fancy earbuds that are designed to completely block out all other sound, but you can hear, it depends on the context. Either you hear a band mix, just yourself, but either way, there's probably a metronome playing if you're a professional band. Now, keep in mind, I've actually never been in a band, never performed live on stage, so that's sort of conjecture on my part, but I would assume that's what's going on. Perfect. That's what I want as far as a tom groove, so next order of business, I need a more interesting fill. Let's see how that works. Absolutely perfect. This sounds like it'll fit the part well enough. Let's try it. And it does. Nice. So, we'll look for another fill from here. Just a basic snare fill. We'll go full Lars Ulrich. Perfect. Now for the verse riff. Alright, so I think I've done about as much as I can with strict gestures in the MIDI. So, I think we'll start by just dragging what we got so far right into the Ugertone drums. The drums I actually plan on using. Let's hear how it sounds. Yeah, so we're off to a good start, but already I wanted to match the actual song more. So let's pull up this again. So we'll just head into the MIDI right here. For the sake of visibility, I'll switch it from rectangles, which is kind of useless for drum MIDI, considering it's just an instant hit. There's no sustain. We'll switch to triangles. There we go. Significantly more visible. Snap it to 16ths. Perfect. That's more what I want. Get rid of this. Scooch this over here. Copy it over. Take another listen just to make sure we're doing the right thing. And indeed I am. Whoops. I meant to hit delete. Now, take this and scooch it over for one last rep of that. I can leave that alone. And then from here on, delete the kick drum for these 3 measures. And take it from these 3 measures. Control C. Go here. Control V. Now listen to the whole thing just to make sure I didn't fuck anything up. Excellent. That sounds a lot more tailor-made to my song. I like that a lot better. It was a little more work than I usually put into drums, especially at this juncture, but something tells me the song's going to be worth it in the end. Now, this part we can go from whole cloth. Just completely custom make something. MIDI item, there we go. Silly me. That first. Whoops. Wrong note. That is correct, Woozle. That is absolutely correct. So, let's find a fill. Because again, this is sort of dead silent here. Not what we want. Remove all this Stola because I don't need it anymore. Library of the Extreme 3. The motherload of fills. Yeah, funny how they call that a basic roll. But that's Dirk Verburen for you. And yes, speaking of, for those of you who do not know the name, Dirk Verburen, he is essentially the king of metal drums. Essentially, if you can name a metal band, he's probably at least done some session work for them. And Jack pointed out that this song sounds Megadeth-ish. This is probably part of the reason why. On their latest album, Dirk Verburen, or no, that was my mistake. He's in Megadeth at the moment, I can tell you that much. Last I heard, anyways. I was going to say he was on their latest album, but that's incorrect. That was actually Charlie Adler of Lamb of God who was on that one. That was a rather silly mistake of me to make, but in any case. I like that one. So we'll take that one. Go all the way down here. And drag it in there. Split that. Delete that. Make sure it sounds good. Perfect. Now, again, I think the better call would be to just write a drum part from scratch, so let's take a listen to this and just see what I can come up with. Alright, so we'll insert a... Actually, no, I have another idea. Let's find the bass part. Let's try to write music like we're writing actual music, huh? There's a novel concept. So let's take this section of the bass riff. Because this is essentially Music Theory 101 right here. I can tell you this is not supposed to be a China groove. Bring it back to triangles. There we go. Kick drum. Here's another hot tip for any aspiring songwriters. If you have absolutely no idea what to do if you write the bass part first but not the kick part, or vice versa, one of the big rules of music is that the bass should probably be following the kick drum. That's right. So if I mute the guitar part for a brief moment, and I have the kick drum and the bass part playing at the same time, that sounds significantly more correct, doesn't it? It sounds more like both musicians know what they're doing. Because again, that's one of the big rules. Any outliers, I mean, there's plenty, nothing I can think of off the top of my head. Like, this is not a hard and fast rule. As a matter of fact, this is actually not the norm in metal music of any stripe. Usually the order of the day when writing metal bass parts is imitate the rhythm guitar track, or else play the rhythm track, except simplified and lower. Which is, sort of what I did anyways, but I can make it sound a little more intentional, at least, if I do it this way. I wish I could give you examples, but just, none are particularly coming to mind at the moment. I'm sort of, focused as it was. Okay, so we'll make these snare hits. Perfect. Sounded like a drum part already. Yes, kind of am. So, we'll take that. This is, again, this is more snare drum 101. The snare drum generally should be on the 2 and 4. This is what's called, there's a name for this, but I forget it off the top of my head. But whatever the case, this is another sort of a more or less rule of writing drums. Because again, the drum's main part is basically just a drum set. In a lot of music contexts, it's really just a really fancy metronome. The main purpose of the drums is to lay down the rhythm section, make sure that the rest of the band knows what to do and where to go. That's why the drums and the bass are supposed to work together this way. What the drums are to the rhythm, the bass is to the harmony. They're both supposed to... Between the two of them, they are what are making sure the rest of the band knows what they're doing, which in this case would be the other two guitarists, or the two guitarists, in any case. So, back in action, we need to fill this in. Right after let's see, where's Crash 1? There it is. We'll go full Rockstar and crash both the cymbals to start with. And again, we're just going to go a little more metronomic. We're going to have a hi-hat, closed hi-hat. Just simply laying down the quarter notes. You can have the hi-hat doing fancy shit every now and again, but in the end, the main purpose of a hi-hat is to just keep the rhythm going and just to ensure the pulse of the song, as it were. Well, here's an example of me breaking a rule. This is not something you would usually do, but for this part of the song, it's essentially what it calls for. So again, usually you want snare on 2 and 4, but this part there really wasn't a call for that. The kick drum already had 2 and 4 covered, so 3 was pretty much the only beat you could put a snare drum on that would make even any sense at all. There we go. And we'll replace this measure with a proper fill. That said, let's look at another pack. Let's go Drum MIDI Ugratone. They're the ones who made my drum sampler that I'm using, so I might as well use their MIDI, right? And of course, they have a thrash metal pack, specialized. Might as well take a look in there. Except for the fact that apparently they only offer fills in 134 beats per minute. We are playing significantly faster than that. We can take a listen to them, but something tells you this is going to sound wrong. So not as comically wrong as I was expecting, but some of them did sound kind of off. This one, however, I like. Let's use it. Yeah, excuse me. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Highlight shenanigans. Because I had it highlighted, it deleted something I didn't mean to delete. So yeah, be a little more careful what you're doing than I am. No, that sounded, okay, forget this plan. Let's go back to the Library of the Extreme 3. Let's try an accented roll. So I like the back half of that. Let's use it. Drag it in. Perfect. And once more. So yeah. Here's something I changed my mind on the fly. Little tip I learned from a video I saw the other day. If you're on my Discord, you may have seen me post it at the very least, if not watch it yourself. The venerable 8-bit music theory. He made an entire video, how to write drum parts for non-drummers. Which in a lot of ways I didn't need. I've written plenty of drum parts, I have some idea what I'm doing, but even then, there was still one valuable tip he had. Maybe, this was a personal pet peeve of his. Like, I don't mind when bands do this, but I figured this is as good a time as any to experiment a bit. Which is, don't crash every 4 measures. Don't hit a cymbal every 4 measures. He thinks, if I recall correctly, his logic was that telegraphs the song a little too well. Like, just keep the groove, just stay on a hi-hat. Which is naturally your mileage may vary sort of idea, but again, I just wanted to experiment with it, and I figure might as well do it in this song. No, that sounds a little too stale. I think I'll meet him halfway. Let's find the open hi-hat. Wherever that may be. Down here. We'll use it as a pseudo crash. How's that? See, again, you can take somebody's tip and just go in your own direction with it. I really like this fill, but again, I only have 1 measure to work with. That's a 2-measure fill. I'm just not sure whether to use the front half or the back half, because they both sound really great and would probably sound really good in context. So that leaves only one option. Try them both and see which one fits slightly better. That sounds good. Yeah, there was an idea, but might have been a clever idea. As a matter of fact, fuck it. We'll call it audience participation. So we'll use this quarter of the beat, and then the very first quarter of the beat, and then the very last quarter. That actually sounds amazing. Well, thank you, Woozle. Your check's in the mail. Yeah. I guess it pays to listen to your chat sometimes. It pays to listen to your chat all the time, actually. Especially for somebody like me, who doesn't get that many people talking. Fuck yeah. Love how this shit works. Although there's one strange thing. Ah. Gotta fix it, though. It's not actually running a double kick. That would have been awkward. Because the way Toontrack samples work is that usually, most of the metal kits have literal double kicks, as in 2. Huh. That's a fair assessments by two brothers. Also, yeah. He gives me an amazing tip and then has to leave. Doesn't that figure? Still appreciate it, though. Thank you for coming anyways. Pleasure. Yeah, Helltaker. I can imagine that. If you're not good with puzzles, I can imagine that being a backseater's paradise. Like, I never got past, what's-her-name, the near-final boss. That part where you were on a conveyor belt and she was striking you with lightning. I never got past that part. There we go. Now the kick is playing the whole way through, as God intended. So, similar idea here. Most of the same, except I want to use a different symbol. I'm thinking ride for this one. With another caveat. I want it to be playing in eighths. But I also want it to be quieter on the offbeats. Absolutely perfect. Exactly what I want. And again, so it's a slight nuance, but not completely the same shit played over again. We'll hit Crash 2 because that's a little more realistic. The ride is at the right half of the kit. Crash 2 is significantly closer. Let's demonstrate this. Okay, well, not significantly closer in this particular setup. But China's actually the closest by far, but it's still a reasonable distance. See, this is the sort of thing you have to think of when you're writing drum parts, especially from scratch. You gotta think of what's physically comfortable for the drummer to play. Because if he was doing a ride part, and I asked him, hey, hit this symbol that's on the other side of the kit, he would look at me with a fuck you sort of expression, and it would be fully justified in doing so. Like those silly black metal people who make the entire drum part of a 6-minute song a blast beat. That's you both not knowing what you're doing and being an asshole. So don't do that. If you write black metal, know when to dial it back. More hot tips from the man with the beard. Gotta love it. In any case, so yeah, that's the main part sorted. So yeah, I think we can just keep the groove going here, and then have a real epic fill here, as soon as we sort out the one-measure fill here, as is customary. So get rid of that. Go back here, find the fill. Let's try a combo variation. That's almost cool, except this is not a hi-hat part. Shit, where'd it go? Over there. Okay, so we're gonna have to do some customizing here. So we'll drag it in. I know for a fact I just want to use the first half of this measure. Which means I didn't delete enough of this. Drag this into place. And again, we're gonna place these kicks back where they belong. Remove that. Close that so I can focus a bit. Oh, that's right. So this is the open hi-hat on Toontrack's particular sample, but again, there we go. Same sort of crash 2. I want to reverse crash 2 and 1. Because again, we're playing a ride part, crash 2 would be closer than crash 1. Perfect. And just for the sake of variety, we'll hit the China. Because of course, symbol 2 is what we're going to start the next measure with. And now, the fun part. We get to find an epic 2-measure fill. Let's try the miscellaneous. These are usually pretty crazy. That sounds suitably nutty. Let's drag it in. Pretty cool. But of course, I gotta fix the kick issue. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to compare parts. I'm trying to make sure everything's playing as it should. Yeah, it looks like everything's playing as it should. Yeah, nope, everything's good. No edits needed here. Alright. So I gotta listen to this riff over again. See what I need to do. Okay, so for this one, we can actually just straight up, we can probably get away with just using a plain, easy tune track MIDI. Because the bass pulse there is just straight eighth notes, which means it's effectively just a double kick part. And if we want a simple beat of that, drum kit from hell, 1/8. Or maybe it was quarter. There we go. Except we want to write a crash, which would be right crash. And I think we'll be extra lazy and just write the part right in here. Okay, we are at measure 53. Just drag it here. Okay, opening hit. Opening hit. Edge, why not? That really tends to set drum parts apart, where you use the ride as an actual cymbal, as opposed to a pingy sort of a hi-hat alternative. That is indeed a way you can use a ride cymbal. Don't forget that. That's a good idea to have in your back pocket if you just want to keep something in mind for when you want to write a different drum part. And of course, look for a fill right after I make sure. Tane, yes indeed, a cliff stream that you can actually watch. I'm sorry for streaming so late my time / your time, but yeah. I figured it was time to break out an afternoon stream. Pleasure to have you here, Tane. It's been far too long, man. Happy to see you. You are, just in time to watch me finish off the drum part for this. So, I wrote the part that I'm after for the chorus, which means I gotta look for fills. Back in Library of the Extreme 3. Combo variations, why not? Sure, why not? And again, make sure it's... only one measure long, and I want the first half of this measure. No, it sounds a little too weird. Let's see if the back half sounds any better in that context. No, this fill just isn't fitting, unfortunately. It sounded nice out of context, but it's just not fitting what I'm doing. And, wow. I guess streaming today was the right call. I mean, it was mostly just a YOLO decision last night. It was like, you know what? Nobody that I would kill myself to watch is streaming tomorrow afternoon, so fuck it, might as well, do that. Reconnect with my European audience, why not? Yes, of course, T-Bird, I forget, you operate a different schedule entirely. Fucking night shift work. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but my first proper job was actually night shift. Well, my first job in this world. Obviously, I don't need a job over in, the fucking kingdom, but obviously, sometimes they may just prefer going deep undercover, which means anybody they drag over here needs to get a job in this world. And in my case, it was a night shift at a factory. Fuck that job. That was not pleasant. So, I mostly got it because of a connection. Like, one of the mages, one of their buddies had an opening. They were the shift manager of the place. They needed an extra hand, and they were like, hey, you should do this. You should, it'll help us cover things up, and you get some extra money. That should work a little better. Let's take a listen. I'll continue the story in a second. Perfect. Now, hit the China for the opening. But yeah, so, again, it was a connection. It was actually pretty nice. I wouldn't have minded, except for two main factors. First one, sort of petty one, selfish one, I didn't get a proper weekend. My days off / nights off, in this case, were, fucking, I want to say Thursday and Sunday. Those were my days off. I didn't get a proper weekend. That sucked. But then there was the other factor, my boss being a complete cunt. That woman was not nice. I mean, she was nice to me because, again, I was, a pretty deep connection to her boss. But again, she was who I had to deal with night in and night out, so... Of course, the thing is, I was informed multiple times while I was working there, hey, you do realize that you can actually pull some weight. Like, you're technically higher on the food chain than her. But of course, I was young, naive, dumb, had an actual ethical heart within me, so I was like, no, I probably shouldn't do that. I don't want to fuck over all the rest of the workers. Which, I mean, it had its ups and downs. Like, obviously, my coworkers that I'm still in contact with still like me. But then, it was still bad. But, anyways, to end off this tangent so I can get back to work for here, here's the reason I stopped working there. So, the specific food warehouse I worked at was a food warehouse. My job involved basically grocery shopping. There would be a list of things that one of our clients would want at their store. We would put them in a box and ship it off. Nice, easy work. Didn't take that much brain power. Nice and easy, but there was a catch. So, one day, I got really sick. Bronchitis, I think it was. Like, extremely sick. Like, common cold on steroids sick. Like, clearly nothing that would kill me, but obviously, this being a food warehouse job, I thought, yeah, you know what, I should probably just stay home until, I get better. So I did. And you want to know what happened? I got fucking written up for it. Even though I went out of my way to call the front office, tell them, hey, I'm sick, I need to, I can't come into work, I don't want to be Typhoid Cliff, I don't want to get people fucking sick. Which they understood. Like, oh, here's another thing, I actually visited a doctor too. Got a note from him saying, hey, this dude needs to stay home until he gets better. And I still got written up. Didn't matter a bit. They still wrote me up. So that was 2 strikes. Fucking, it was 2 days that I stayed home, and I got written up for missing those 2 days, despite having the perfect excuse to do so. So that was the point where I was like, you know what, fuck this job, I'm not staying here, I'm out of here, I can't take it anymore. If they're gonna write me up for fucking not causing a pandemic, then fucking, there was just no way. They wouldn't understand. They clearly didn't have my best interest at heart. They didn't have their customers' best interest at heart. It was like, fuck that. we're finished. And before you ask, yes, this was well before COVID-19, like, probably close to a decade before that. Because you know something like that wouldn't have happened if I had been in that same situation today. Like, if I hadn't even attempted to show up with a runny nose, it would be like, go the fuck home. But it was a different time. I pretty much had to live with it. So yeah, fuck that job. And yeah, I started that tangent because I was trying to talk about how much a night shift sucked, but no. That was just, how bad that job was. It being a night shift job that fucked with my system, that was the least of its problems. Imagine that. Alright, let's mix it up a bit. Let's check another pack. Oh, I can imagine, Jack. There we go. Let's hear how this part sounds altogether. So yeah, that's kind of an abrupt ending, but again, this is the sort of thing I'm going to work on again later. But of course, we gotta drag the MIDI in. Just drag it right in here. Remove it from there. Click in here, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Looks like it. Oh, I can imagine. Got the runs of, okay, I believe this is supposed to be open hi-hat, so... Okay, C4. A flat 1. That's quite a ways away. Which means no properties. AB1. There we go. Perfect. Little panic of a tree, but yeah. Although, yeah, I can imagine space is kind of at a premium down there at the moment. And that'll do it for the drum part once I write one last little ending flourish. Also, welcome to the stream, Electro. Let's see. New mini item. There we go. Dun 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 dun. Hit the snare. Fresh. And then I believe... Whoops. I overestimated how much time I had. Let's see how this sounds. Second burst, same as the first. Alright, so with this should be the completed for now song. So let's turn the guitar back on and let's see how everything coalesces before I do some final mixing. Make it sound a little more finished. I didn't mean for it to keep playing, but yeah. I'd say that's good progress for one stream. Jack thinks so, apparently. Alright. But again, we can put this over the top a bit. Make it sound a little more professional. So first order of business, let's switch the guitar tone up a bit. Let's go to the verse. We'll solo the bus. We'll see how it sounds. Solo this. Because this, I was just using a plain-ass preset. Just whatever they come up with for here. But it's time for me to make my own way. Let's start by resetting it to factory default. I don't want to use their stomp box. There we go. Now it's off. I want to use my own usual, which is over here. Audio Already Doctor Drive. I like those settings for a boost. So, there's the amp, but we need to pick out a cab. Because I should be fucking with these knobs a bit, but not yet. I want to pick out my own cabinet first. Which brings me to my other purchase for the day. Which I need to, first of all, disable this. I do not want to use their cabinet simulation. I want to load up another one. Let's go, Impulsive. The commercial one I own. I was going to say I should probably, I would have to hide my screen for a bit, but no, I don't need to do that. Silly me. Not if I use this plugin. Okay, so sea cow cabs. Here we go. I'm going to use one of the 2 packs I bought along with the amp sim. That was the deal. You buy 2 cabinet impulse packs, they give you a very cheap amp sim to go with it. Or cheaper than usual. This is a $40 amp sim I'm using, but I got it for $12. Because I got these 2 $7 impulse packs. But for this one, we're going to use HSU. Based on a Hesu cabinet. 44.1. And we're going to use DBN. These are all just their own custom impulses. Because they can make with the sea cow cabs, the commercial ones at least. You can get really in the weeds with these because they have speakers, mics for the speakers, and then even, I think you can change power amps too, but I'm not sure. But either way, instead I'm going to pick a speaker. In this case, Demon. Hesu's custom speaker. They describe it as if the Vintage 30 and the some other speaker had a baby. Which is probably meaningless to people who do not know anything about guitar gear, but suffice it to say, it's a new twist on old gear. That's all I gotta know. Okay, so LL. This is basically just every speaker together. If the cabinet was outfitted with all Demon speakers. Let's just take a listen to these and see which one fits best. I'm feeling LL2 on this one. I like this one. But let's be thorough. Let's try some of these very thematic, custom pre-mixed impulses, sort of say. So yeah, if you're hungry, I'm sorry. I should probably mention that this company is indeed Mexican. So that's what they theme their preset sort of impulses after. I was just explaining this, John. It's a Mexican company, so they name their basic impulses after Mexican food. Why not? I can think of worse ways to theme a... I can think of worse ways to... I can think of worse themes to go for. Man, I haven't had Mexican in a minute. I want some. Anyways, let's take a listen to some of these and see what sounds best. So, tacos and chilaquiles were the 2 I was feeling. They go better for the theme I want, but chilaquiles slightly wins. So, let's click this. This activates a high pass. Cleans up the low end a bit. Let's also drag it over a bit more. Yeah, I don't really need to high pass this. I don't particularly want to. There is sort of a gross kind of resonance I want to get rid of, but I'll save that for later. But of course, there are 2 guitars playing, so obviously we need to copy this entire single chain over to the second one. Remove that, and then paste this back in. Bring this back where it belongs, 90% left. Let's hear how they sound together. And my dumbass forgot a step. So I gotta bring the solo and over again. I forgot to... Well, first of all, I hit the wrong track. That doesn't help, but... I also forgot to actually dial in the amp sim. I guess it sounds most of the way I want, but... we can make it sound a little better. So, usual drill. Take all of these, bring them down to 0, and then just gradually bring them in until... I have as much of any given frequency as I want. So drag it back over here. Let's take a listen. So, to explain a bit, the mids are technically, these should be fairly high, but this is thrash metal. Thrash metal prides itself on scooped guitars, which means this is not going to be very high. And in favor of bringing the bass and treble further up than they usually would be. That's pretty safe to do on a 5150, though, because these are very mid-range heavy amps anyways. It's a lot like, if you're aware of Dimebag Darrell of Pantera, the late legendary guitar player. That was basically his MO, like, scooping his guitars to almost comical levels. Like, his mids would never be past 2 o'clock or so, or 2 out of 10 or so. This would be, I think 7 o'clock? I don't know. I haven't fucked with an analog clock in a while. In any case, however, he knew what he was doing with that. He made sure that between using very mid-range heavy amps and having ungodly amounts of gain, that the mid-range would be compensated for in other areas. Plus, he could get away with it being the only guitarist of that band. It was pretty much just him, the bass player, and the drummer. So it didn't matter if he was, it didn't matter if he didn't have as many mids as other guitarists. It was fine. He was the only guitarist. He could afford to do that. But with one last caveat, he also specifically designed his guitar tones to sound good, played over a PA. Yeah, I feel like Jack. So yeah. There was another friend of the Chronomages who was also a pretty serious metalhead. In a lot of ways, he was one of the people who was glad that I picked up Guitar Hero and went down the path of metal. He was the sort of guy who would share albums with me, tell me what bands to listen to. He had some good taste. Like, I remember especially one Christmas where he sent me both Metallica's Ride the Lightning and, not as relevant to this stream, In Flames' Colony. That's a great album. Fairly underrated. Rest in peace, In Flames. Just one of those bands that make you wonder what the hell happened to them. But, yes, back on subject. So yeah, that's a lot of words to say I'm going to keep the mids limited. But of course I gotta make sure all the rest of these knobs are where I want them to be, so... Again, I'm going to concentrate for a second here. I'm going to just gradually bring these up and see where I want them. They did, in my opinion, Jack. That's actually a pretty widely held opinion, in all honesty. I'm not gonna start an argument too much, but I will tell you generally, only the collab with Pendulum, then, So, most In Flames former In Flames fans, I guess, melodic death metal fans in general will tell you their last good album was Clayman. And that was written in 2001, I think. After that, they went kind of silly. That's about as much as I'm going to explain. Again, anything before Clayman is great. Anything afterwards, a bit more eh. Except they had a couple of good songs on Come Clarity, partial return to form, but after that, they stuck with their modern sound, which is, to say the least, controversial. But that's that. Again, this is not a Melodeath stream, this is a thrash stream. Alright, that's about where I want it, so let's once again take this, and we'll place it over here. pan it back over it this way, and we'll hear how they sound together. Oh, I almost forgot another little thing I gotta do. The Samsung is quiet as fuck. I gotta boost it a lot. But I'm not about to do that whole copy-paste doshido again for that, so bring it. That would slightly depend on who you ask, but a lot of people will tell you it isn't worth it. But I am not the... Nobody died and may be the king of who you can and can't listen to, so... Again, you are free to look into them on your own time. Form your own opinion. That's it if you want my advice. If you want a good older song of theirs, my recommendation would be Ordinary Story. Ordinary Story. That's an amazing song. One of their true classics. Also, the album The Jester Race is apparently their real big yardstick. Pretty much their master of puppets. The album everybody knows them for, everybody praises. All that sort of idea. If you want something more modern of theirs, you're going to have to ask somebody else. Slightly overcorrected there. Bring it down. That's more like it. Now let's hear how it sounds in the context of the entire mix. Already sounding pretty good. So now, with that, it's time to work on the bass tone. That's a guitar tone out of the way. Again, we're going to undo the master send on this. And we're going to start with the clean tone for the bass. Bring it back to the clean DI. So, now it's time to break out, first of all, Odd Drive. Dr. Drive, because there's one preset that I love using on bass. Clangy bass, pretty obvious. And now, for my true, secret weapon as far as clean bass tones, Black Ice. Alright, later T-Bird, have a good stream. I might write into you, we'll see how it goes. But anyways, back to work. Either way, have a good stream. So yeah, obviously the bass tone's a little loud, but we can fix that. Let's try some of these presets, specifically for bass. So, the tone is already where I want it, but now it's time for the cabinet. And apparently the last tone I used was Duat, but I'm not really feeling that. Let's look elsewhere. Let's try 3 Sigma Audio Mega Bass Custom. Warm 1. I like that one. Very rich low end, exactly what I want for this purpose. But of course, there's one little problem with this. It's too fucking loud. So once I find... There we go. That's clean sorted, and now for the dirt. And this I don't need to put any thought in whatsoever. Just take the guitar tone and paste it onto that track. With one exception that I will show you in a moment. This isn't something I usually do, but it's something I want to experiment with real quick. So, a lot of people, myself included most of the time, would usually just use whatever impulse response you used on the guitar on this track. But, again, I want to experiment. I want to put it through the same impulse I'm using on the clean bass track. Just to see how it's going to work. Yes, indeed, dirt. You listen to any metal album, this is most likely the approach they're using to their bass tone. Mega Bass Custom... with one difference. Okay, not the exact same impulse, but it is a bass cab impulse. Which again goes against conventional wisdom in this case, but fuck it. It still gives me the sound I want, which is overly distorted bullshit. Yeah, it does not sound pleasant on its own, but it's not supposed to. This is mostly for texture for the rhythm guitars, especially once I pull this little trick. Dead Duck Dual Filter. So, the last trick we're going to use is we're going to give this a very intense high pass and low pass. Roughly 500 to 10,000 hertz. This is a very narrow mid-range bandwidth we're going for, because again, this is to enhance the rhythm guitars, not really help the bass tone in and of itself. That's what the clean tone is for. So, let's listen to them both together. They're about where I want them volume-wise. Because the other tip is the dirt track should be 8 to 10 decibels lower than the clean track. The dirt track should be 8 to 10 decibels lower than the clean track. I feel like I had a stroke. I wasn't sure if I actually said that correctly or not, but I did the second time. That's what matters. So anyways, now let's hear everything in context together. Okay, so survey says, dirt track is way too fucking loud still. Yeah, usually dirt's not supposed to be that hearable in the mix. It's supposed to just blend in with the rhythm guitars. Which is probably an indication that I made them too different. I made the bass part too different from the guitar track, but fuck it. These things happen, I'll just have to live with it. So, last order of business, let's clean out the rhythm guitars a bit. Which means... Let's see, first of all... Multiband compressor. The same settings I stole from Glenn Fricker many years ago. So as a refresher, the point of this move is to make sure that the palm mutes are not absolutely ruining the mix, farting all over the place, as said angry Canadian man would put it. Just keeping the low end nice and tight, making sure everything has its own space to breathe. Because again, well, not again, this is for the first time I'm saying this stream anyways, but palm mutes are very bass heavy. You need to keep the low end of your guitar under control, scoop or no scoop. So next will be PTEQX, this nice fancy little Pultec style thing. So turn this off, we don't particularly need it. What we do need is this center one right here. So first bring it to 30 Hertz. Bring the bandwidth down to 0, nice and sharp. And now, watch what I do here. So yes, I am boosting and cutting the same exact frequency here on the low end. The reason I'm doing this is because, to explain this again, these two are not affecting the exact same 30 Hz frequency. It's really more like this is affecting 25 and this is affecting 35. The numbers are probably a little bigger than that, but probably not gonna work. Jack, I mean, Bearer of Bad News was an 8-string piece, but 9-string, no. Although I do believe I have a plugin that is based on a 9-string, but I don't believe I have that installed. I'll have to reinstall it. Which I might as well, because Kraken is basically its complement. It is also by Solemn Tones, it is called the Odin, of course. So yeah, that Solemn Tones stick, they named their plugins after Norse mythology. Kraken is their second attempt at a bass plugin. Their other is actually the Loki. And then they have their own drum plugin, the Mjolnir. So yeah, work with a company that names their instruments after Norse mythology, and then work with another company who names their cabinet impulse responses after Mexican food. What a wonderfully diverse little scene metal plugins are. Anyways, in case you missed what that did, so basically, it got rid of mud, basically. It just got rid of undesirable low end in favor of giving you desirable low end. It made the tone sound thinner, in a sense, but that's what we wanted. The guitars are not supposed to be low-end monsters. That's what the bass is for. Okay, the mix is finally where I want it to be. With one exception. I need to get rid of that last little resonance on the rhythm guitars. But there's also an extra thing I can do. Let's, do a little extra low pass, just to make sure. I'm not going to give it a low pass. I don't usually use those. I don't feel a need to. But what I do feel a need to is to do this. I'd advise you to watch your ears on this one. What I'm doing is getting rid of a certain really nasty nasally frequency, ice pick frequency that will make this harder to listen to. Which means I have to hunt for it now in order to get rid of it later. Not the most fun thing in the world to listen to, so brace your ears. So yeah, that's going to fucking fatigue your ears hardcore if you don't get rid of it. I'm going to give you a little before and after, just so you notice it. It's a subtle difference, but it's going to make all the difference in the context of a full mix. So, I think that's enough mixing for the immediate moments. So, I'm just going to go ahead and play the full song, which I would like to reveal I actually have a title for it right now. Usually when I write these songs live, I don't have a title idea until well afterwards. But I have a title for this one. Any lawyers in the audience? Besides Jack? I'm just fucking with you, you're not a lawyer. I wouldn't say that to you, but yes, this is a legal term. Habeas corpus. That's the title of the song, Habeas corpus. I present to you basically the demo of it. Let's take a listen. So yeah, at the moment it kind of ends with a whimper as opposed to a bang, but again, this is definitely one I'm going to work on later, a little more. So yeah, I'm not going to upload it to a channel or anything, just, it's just the beginnings of the work on it. So, yeah, with that, I think, we're gonna call that a day here as far as, writing, the song. I made good progress, but, again, still needs more work, needs more substance to it. Which I will give it in due time, but I'd say for the moment that's a good place to stop. So, until then, yeah. I will say I'm actually pretty pleased. I'm always concerned that these music streams don't get enough eyes on them, but no, I've actually noticed, I've actually gotten a pretty good audience today. I'm, really happy. I guess, getting rid of the games was a good call. For the moment. I'll probably still go back to them, like, again, I think the new Melty patch drops today, which means Saber buffs. I forgot about that until I said, So yeah, I did mention earlier, screw video games, I'm only doing music streams, but that was before I remembered Saber was getting buffed. So, yeah, maybe at some point next week I might do that, but for this upcoming week, it'll probably only be music streams. I know next on the agenda is I have a commission I need to work for. A name you might know, actually. I'm not going to disclose who it is, but it is somebody you know. It is indeed somebody you know. Somebody we all know in here. And he has requested that I make him a nice, chill, ethereal little Zatsu sort of music, which I believe I can do. You've heard my gentler stuff. I know when to dial it back when I need to. Like, sure, this was all fast, game cranked, insane thrash, but I can write soft shit too, when I need to, / want to. Huh. You're welcome, Duck. It was my pleasure. And that is indeed part of the reason I do so. As a matter of fact, I've actually had 3 commissions, and only one of them actually used distorted guitars at all, funnily enough, so far. The one I have yet to work on, I'm still going back and forth on whether or not to add guitars at all. Or electric guitars. Acoustic guitars, he specifically requested acoustic guitars for it. According to his reference tracks, but yeah. Only one of them, I'm not going to spoil what I did for one of the tracks, but again, it was the only one that had any gain to it at all, any distorted guitar at all. The other 2 were just chill, laid-back Zatsu sort of music. One of which I actually just finished, and the client was actually very happy with it, so clearly I'm actually pretty good at doing gentle music, apparently. But yeah. So yeah, that's the next stream, working on a commission. Chill, Zatsu, ethereal sort of idea. I'm looking forward to working on that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm calling it a day here. That's, Hummingbird, I actually don't have that. See, funny enough, the last commission I did, I actually used an electric guitar, but I used a impulse response. 3 Sigma, you saw me use them, their guitar impulses / bass impulses. They actually have another specialist sort of impulse response pack that makes an electric guitar sound like an acoustic guitar. Which I would say is actually pretty convincing, assuming you use an acoustic simulator pedal on top of that. Which I fortunately happen to have. As a very old plugin, but I have it nonetheless. I don't think, should I demonstrate that right now? Would you like a demonstration of that? Like it's not dead on to a proper acoustic guitar, but it's still, it's still better than nothing. Like, better than any of the free acoustic guitar samples I have on hand anyways. Okay, so you want a demonstration? I will give you a demonstration. Fuck it, why not? So here we are back at the DAW. And I need to add restream to this. Wait, no, I used the wrong version of it. Let's replace effects. Reflux Edition, that's right. These are distinct plugins, and OBS is only looking for one of them. I gotta make sure to pick the right one. Okay, so insert. So, I have a bunch of guitar plugins, as you may know, but the one I prefer for this purpose is Ample PF. Peregrine Falcon is short for. It's based on a PRS guitar, as you'll see once it loads. It's probably going to take a minute because the other project is still in RAM. Although if you're eagle-eyed, you may have noticed, yes, it is indeed titled Habeas Corpus. I wasn't lying to you. Gotta give it a second to load. But in the meantime, we'll switch to the neck library and disable all the effects. That's gotta happen. Otherwise, weird shit happens. Because out of the box, it uses a more metal-friendly, Oh shit, my Reaper crashed. Well, I guess the demonstration isn't happening. I'm sorry. Actually, no. We'll do it again. I don't think I had anything too incriminating on screen, or at least I fucking hope not. So, in that case, you didn't see anything. And even if you did see something you weren't supposed to, you wouldn't rat me out, right? Okay. Good. Good to know. Good to know. That's, never a fun thing to happen. That's all very heroic of you, Mr. Nelson. Kinda figures that that's what you do. Fucking Power Nelson. Mr. Hero. I meant more heroic cheese graters. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways. It's backloaded, so let's bring this up again. Let's try this again. That's not what I wanted to do, silly me. Yeah, almost getting doxxed tends to tilt at people. What would, about what do you expect? There we go. Ample PF. Nice and simple. And this time we're going to be patient and just let it load. Again, that's its default patch, not what we want. So first, neck library. We want to switch to the neck pickup. That's generally what the fine folks at 3 Sigma recommend for that purpose. But of course, I gotta give it a second, another little bit to load. And I'm going to be patient because I don't want it to crash again. Not that much different with, not that much difference with any distortion, but yep. It probably does. It probably does. These, all the good sample instruments tend to take shitloads of RAM. Like, for instance, you'll probably notice that I haven't done any symphonic music in a while, and half the reason is because my particular library, the, what's it called, East-West Quantum Leap Symphonic Orchestra, it sounds great, but it takes shitloads of RAM, especially if you're using multiple instruments. Like, I'm reluctant to even break out the pianos or single instruments on that, just because they take so fucking long to load. Yeah, it's massive, but it's worth it. And the funny thing is, I actually didn't update its manual to reflect changes in technology. Like, again, it was released in the late 2000s, and computers back then were significantly weaker than they are now. To the point that the manual actually has a section saying, hey, if you're having a little trouble, then you can use a 2-computer workflow to make everything work better. Which is, fortunately, time has marched on, and it's not quite that demanding by that standards, but it still is very demanding. And fortunately, the samples have also held up well enough to justify that. Okay, so I have the DI. Let's run it apart real quick. We'll use the strummer, why not? We'll play something in D minor, fuck it. Hold on, I think there's still some reverb on. Yes, get rid of that. There we go. Okay, so apparently, here's a little sample of my old song, Watching Her Fly Away. I don't know why it automatically loads that, but fuck it, send it. Perfect way to demonstrate. So we'll just drag it in here. And just let it play. Why not? Wrong BPM. Let's see. 80 BPM, that's what we want. Going down, all the way down. 280 BPM. So that's how the DI sounds, of course. Just, dumbass. Forgot to put on Restream. Haha, look at the stupid fucking idiot streamer. Almost docked himself. Forgot to send audio out. Just, wow. This is a mess. Yeah, I figures no major problems back when I was actually making the song, so in this little post-bonus section, of course, something has to go wrong. It's still not sending. What the fuck? Okay, local broadcast. There we go. Nice. Okay. So, if you've listened to my music before, you already know what this sounds like, so I'm just gonna go ahead and talk over it real quick. So again, this is the DI. Mind a little fart there, Ram Hog tends to do it. And I forgot to hit it to loop. Silly me. Don't worry, brother, nobody stays anonymous for long on, the World Wide Web. You can mitigate it to the best of your ability, but, of course, there are some creepy fucking people out there. Anyways, that's a dark subject. Let's, go back to what I was actually meant to do. So again, this is just what the DI sounds like out of the box. So next step. Again, this is just what I use. Behold, Audio Assault Dirt Machine. Fun fact, this is actually a discontinued plugin of theirs. They don't sell this anymore. But I bought it long ago, I still have it, and for this purpose it works well. I'm just gonna A-B it with its DI, so I'll let you listen. So yeah, already pretty convincing, but we can do more with it. Which is where the real star of the show of this workflow comes in. Well, sort of. The vessel of the star of the show. The recommended vessel of it. Because again, 3 Sigma Audio Impulsive. This is their commercial impulse loader. It's what they highly recommend when you're working with, especially their instrument imitation plugins. Because this is just one arm of this series of impulses. They have, see, what I'm about to use is 3 Sigma pickups. Here we go. So yeah, Tay 610. This is based on a Taylor acoustic guitar, but as you can see, that's not all they do. They also have emulations of Les Pauls. You can turn any electric guitar into a Les Paul, a Stratocaster, or a Telecaster. And it is indeed, rather convincing, just like, I would say so at least. Anyways, we're not messing with the electrics, we're messing with the acoustic impulses. So we're just going to play the track again. Except it mutes automatically if you don't have an impulse loaded. Very nice of them, very kind of them. So we're going to go Tay. So it could be either acoustic or electric. It's sort of a your mileage may vary sort of idea. They want you to experiment with it and see what works. Like, electric is really intended for just straight off the pickups, like not having the dirt machine on the acoustic simulator, but I don't think it's that convincing, but just for the sake of argument, I'll show it to you anyways. 44.1. And all these impulses. These basically go from brightest to, darkest to brightest is the intent. Alright. We'll try them out. Oh yeah, watch out. They're also quiet as a motherfucker. You gotta crank this shit if we're doing it this way. Okay, that sounds more convincing than I remember. Also, you may notice balanced, bright, warm is basically how it goes. Basically, neutral low end, less low end, more low end. But yeah, again, I'm sort of surprised. I actually haven't messed with these in a while. It sounds more convincing than I expected, but I don't know. I still wouldn't use it. Although that said, I might as well stick to the plan. I mean, I think they sound fine together, but again, I wouldn't use it for that purpose. I would go back to the acoustic. And they have several options here. For different, see, the actual intent of this, it making an electric guitar sound like an acoustic guitar is actually supposed to be a bonus feature. Like, just something you experiment with. Something to give you a different sound. The actual intent of this is for use with acoustic electric guitars. In other words, acoustic guitars with a pickup that you can just plug into an interface using a DAW, all that shit. Without having to worry about fucking with microphones or bad recording rooms or any of that. Which, of course, has the disadvantage of making it sound a bit unnatural, but that's where these plugins come in. You can bring the life back to it. Which I believe is what the acoustic sim here is closest to. But we'll try it out. I think we'll start with the sound hole. In my experience, usually the piezo works best, but we'll experiment with it, just for the sake of demonstration. I can't tell if you meant, timing was a bit ambiguous. I wasn't sure if it was, you did that while the sound was cranked and I forgot to turn it down. That'd be like if AXCX recorded a fucking acoustic album. Besides the ones I actually recorded. Picnic of Love, look that album out. And then look up the rest of their discography and prepare to get freaked the fuck out. Anyways. So that sound hole, I'm not using an ES2, I believe it's a Fishman pickup they're mentioning here, but it's not technically what I'm using, but they themselves say, experiment with it, just see what works. Okay, this particular plugin set doesn't work in my opinion, so we'll go back to piezo. So yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns on that one. I think the piezo with the acoustic sim from the Dirt Machine is the best combo, but of course, your mileage may vary. And I just realized apparently the delay in the ample was still on. That's fucked. Okay, that's tuning. Silly me. everything off, damn it. There we go. Although while we're on the subject of reverb, that brings me to the last little piece the last little, the glue that holds my acoustic tone together. And that is a reverb. So we'll break out Reaper's built-in reverb. And since I'm not sending it, this is just a demonstration. Usually I would put this on a separate track, but we'll just leave it on this one. Just a quick demonstration. If I play now, it'll just double it, which means I need to add the impulse. So, File. And Miracle of Miracles. It actually loads into my reverb folder. Impulse responses reverbs. Let's see. I am reverbs. This is the Voxengo. If you go to Voxengo, this is their free impulse response pack. And we'll go for Nice Drum Room. Just a nice little studio impulse. But it's a little too loud. Yep. Yeah, it's a subtle reverb. It's just meant to give it a little extra life. Which again, much like the impulse pack in itself, it's meant to give you back the sound of a recorded with a microphone and a nice studio effect that you don't really get out of the box with an acoustic electric guitar. But yeah. It's probably not quite as good as if I just decided to pony up for an actual acoustic sample library, but I'd say for the moment, this suits me well enough. It sounds good enough, convincing enough. Because my main market, for better or worse, I don't really have that many musicians watching me, / listening to my music. They're not aware that this is just an acoustic guitar trying its hardest to sound like an electric. They just think, oh wow, that's a nice sounding guitar. Assuming they think in terms of instruments at all. Maybe they just think, wow, this sounds beautiful. In which case, that means I've done my job well enough. Perfect. So, yeah. That was a little demonstration of my acoustic workflow. I would say, again, suits my needs well enough. It's, what I like. It's what I think sounds good. It's about all I can ask for. So, in any case, that's, I believe that will actually do it for the stream this time, unless, anybody else has some, other questions they want to know. Doesn't look like there are, so I will indeed actually call it a day for real this time. Which means it is time to search for a raid target. So let's see who's on. Let's see. We got Henem Emmy. We got Alice Sawyer. Congo's still on. Juliet Winters, Arthur's on. Die's on. Snacks is on. Woozle's on. Huh, I didn't know he was streaming. And T-Bird is also on. Two of my former, two people who were just here earlier also had to stream. Such is life in indie VTuber land. Let's see, you know what, I don't think we've ever raided Kotomi Snacks. Let's go for her. Yep, calling it. We are going to raid Kotomi Snacks. Why not? Little left field pick. Might as well. So, yes, once again, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it a lot. It was a nice stream. Pleasure to have you all in company. Again, I think the thrash ended up turning out really well. So, time for the raid. I'll see you all later in the week for the commission work. Till then, take it easy. See you later.